Hello, this is the newly released CRUMAR Sorrento organ. In today's video, let's do a deep dive on the organ sound engines and controls. So let's rig up an overhead camera so we can explore it together. Okay, as promised, let's do a deep dive into the organ settings here then on the brand new CRUMAR Sorrento. And the burn pedal. We'll focus today on the sound engines, the organ modelling here. There's three of them. There's the drawbar, the Spinnet, and even a farfisa, which I'm not so fond of, so we won't dig too much into that, but the other ones we'll certainly demonstrate. If you haven't seen my overview video, go check that out, where we talk about this system as a whole. Today I want to focus on this. In the next video we'll focus on this. So for the most of this video, this will have all its settings at their default, 12 o'clock. And I think we'll have the Leslie on, but spinning at the slow speed. Fast, slow. We could even stop it. Or bypass it. Probably best to have it on the slow setting, which most of you, I guess, would find the most useful. So yeah, lower manual. I've dialed in 838 on the drawbars for the lower manual, and I just leave it on that setting. It's nice for comping. But I do like to add some vibrato chorus. We've got it on C3 on the lower manual. It sounds like this. Let me just show you. So typically what you want is something with a bit of bass and a nice clean sound for comping or playing chords. Well, this is the fundamental. This is like a sub oscillator. And then a little bit of this one to taste. This will be a fifth in between, right? We don't want too much of that. Just a little bit like that. And that's pretty much set and forget. So let's jump to the upper manual now and we'll mess around with that. So there's my lower dialed in. On the top then, let me play you the drawbars. There's the fundamental again. Something is... Okay, now we've reset them. You can save 2 drawbar presets for the upper manual and 2 for the lower as well, which is handy if you want to very quickly jump to all of the drawbars out kind of thing, full drawbar setting. So what have we got? Let's play a chord, a G chord. Again. There's the sub. A little bit of the fifth. And let's carry on up. Maybe you want to hear them by themselves. Let's do that. G chord again. There's a nice Hammond organ chord. Weird, isn't it? A very common setting that we use in jazz, soul, gospel would be the first 3 drawbars all the way out. Sometimes you can add the 4th for a fuller sound. Maybe just a little bit of that. If you want a little bit of the whistle sound, pull this one out. To taste. If you're curious what it sounds like without the Rotary sim, take a listen. Bypass. Worth noting, even if you do bypass the Leslie Rotary simulation, you still do have the reverb effects. I particularly like the, it was on that, the tube setting, sorry, the spring setting. And there's also, that's the tubes, get my train of thought correct. That is the spring setting. This is the hall, like a digital reverb sound. They're all digital reverbs, but in the manual they call this one the digital reverb. This one is the emulation of an analog spring reverb. Interestingly, let's try it. If you turn the Leslie on, the actual spring reverb goes before the rotary simulation. You hear that? Very interesting effect. Hear that? Whereas, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here, whereas the digital reverb is after. But anyway, back to slow. Let's turn this down a little bit and we'll stick with the digital. I want to show you some interesting things that I noticed. Firstly, can you hear there's a lot of hum and overtones there? Take the reverb off. I want you to listen as I play a scale. You see how each note actually has a different set of harmonics? That one, for example, it's got some extra high harmonics. This is all to do with foldback, how the various drawbars, the tone wheels, sorry, the various spinning tone wheels were reused for the different octaves. And there's also leakage. You're hearing some of the other drawbars even though I've pushed them all the way in. Crosstalk, tone wheel leakage. You hear that? It's like a very low sound there. It's gone for that note. So excuse the pun, but that makes it very organic, since each note has its own character. Hear that one? That's got a low frequency. This one's got more of a whistle sound. And I think that's the simulation of the leakage and the foldback settings. I don't have a real B3 to compare it with. We're on the console model now, so this is an emulation of a console organ like the B3, A100, C3, that kind of thing. We can shift down an octave if we want to go all the way down to the bottom. Sounds pretty beefy, right? So that's the raw sound of the drawbars. I think we've demonstrated that fairly well. Let's talk about the vibrato chorus. We've already heard it. Here on the bottom, sounds lovely. On the top, we can switch it on here. It's switchable on and off per manual. You can hear it boost the volume, adds that lush, pulsating, kind of chorusy sound. That's why this circuit is called the vibrato chorus. I'll play some vibratos for you later, which I don't like at all. They sound very cheesy, just like they did on the originals. You can hear it boost the volume as well. That was what you heard on the real Hammonds as well. On the upper manual, so I won't be winning any awards for organ playing on this video or any other video, because really the focus is on this particular video. It's more scientific. Go and check my overview video if you want to hear me playing this. Some nice tunes more in a musical context. In this video, I just want to show you for those tone wheel sniffers, as you say, you might be able to say, tone wheel sniffers. I like that phrase. I coined it myself. Yeah, those of us that like, and I'm include myself there, that really like to hear the raw sound of the organ. That's what this video is all about. Let's talk about the percussion settings. Bring in just a little bit more beef with this drawbar and a bit of whistle. Back to slow. Yeah, percussion. Let's switch it on. You hear that? The difference? So, on a real Hammond organ, when you engage the percussion, it kills this drawbar. You can actually hear that if I pull it all the way out. Someone also asked on a forum, just like on the real organ, as you engage it, you get the ping of the percussion. Very cool, and it kills this drawbar. This has no effect now. That's actually quite nice. In a performance, you can have this whistly sound, and then at the press of a button, get rid of that whistle and have the percussion instead. So kind of two sounds for the price of one. Here we have the settings. Let's take all the drawbars in. You can play the percussion just by itself. Soft. That's the speed of the percussion. Fast. Slow. That's soft. You can play chords, but it doesn't re-trigger if you play legato. Okay, that's an interesting thing about the percussion circuit of the original Hammond. You can also, let's put it on that one. No, I like the longer decay. You can also have a different harmonic. Listen. Let's bring in the drawbars. You hear that? Even though it's a fifth above. So yeah, that's your percussion circuitry there, very faithfully modelled to the original Hammonds. This video is sponsored by me and my Piano Club members. Yes, Piano Club is where you can get exclusive members only videos once every week about everything related to playing keyboards, piano, synths, arranger keyboards and so on. So please do check that out over on Patreon and become a YouTube channel member alternatively. It's a great way to support the channel. Thanks in advance. So let's move on. Let's talk about the Overdrive circuit, shall we? Before we get there, let's just talk about, and sorry if I'm just winging it a little bit here, we'll talk about some of the other controls. We have the key click, which you hear more actually if you disable the Rotary. Maxed out. And a real Hammond sounds very, very clicky if you don't run it through a Leslie sim or a Leslie speaker, the real one. Switch it back on. We also have a adjustment of the level of the percussion, so take a listen to this. I max that out. And here we have an assignable knob. In this particular case, by default, it's assigned to the ring modulation. An effect I will never use, but you can choose other organ sound parameters to assign to that one. And by the way, if you go into the menus, there are settings for lots of different things here. You can adjust the generator boost. I still don't know what that is. You can adjust the crosstalk leakage level between the spinning tone wheels for that interference we were talking about earlier. You can dial in the amount of vibrato chorus, the mix of it with the dry sound and the affected sound, all sorts of things about the percussion, the decay speeds, goodness knows what, I don't even remember, but go check the manual if you're interested to read about what you can tweak on the instrument. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to dial it in to whatever sound you like. So we're doing pretty good. Let's move on and talk about the all-important overdrive circuit. Now, the pedal doesn't have any simulation of the overdrive you would find in a real Leslie cabinet, in the preamps there, or the power amps. There's no emulation of the preamps in the original Hammond organ either. What we do get is an emulation of a tube screamer pedal, which I think is more correctly a distortion pedal than an overdrive pedal. So we get a distortion circuit here, and interestingly, it's completely analog. So yeah, no modeling here. This is resistors, diodes, capacitors, or whatever you use to build the circuit of an Ibanez tube screamer. Let's take a listen. Switch it on. We have three controls. The volume, which you probably would never want to turn down, because even on maximum, I hear a cut in the volume. That's on, off. We have the amount of drive. That's the minimum. That's the maximum. I'm going to switch the percussion off for a bit so we can have a little bit of whistle. Let's have full drawbars out for this one. And then we have the tone, which just cuts the high end. It's like a filter. So it can remove some of the harshness, just makes it a bit smoother. That's maxed out. It's nice with it just rolled off a little bit. Let's try it without the rotary effect. One thing that I dislike personally about this circuit is if you're playing solo organ, you're likely playing bass with your left hand. And this circuit does cut the bass quite dramatically. Listen. Sounds quite cool actually. I do like the circuit for the distortion, but it cuts the bass. Hear the difference? With the cabinet on, off. On. It's quite a cool tone. I do like it, but you do lose a lot of the bottom end. Okay, we're getting through this quite nicely. I'm going to switch this off again because now we're going to listen to the sound of the other models here. Go back to this sound. We'll switch it over to the Spinnet. That was the console, like your classic big B3s. The consoles had two 61-note manuals. There were the Rolls Royces for Hammond organs. Spinnets were more the Fiat Unos. Budget cut-down version. Sounds like this. Got to be careful with the percussion because the circuitry is completely different. So that's Spinnet back to console. It's a pretty subtle difference, right? But then again, Spinnet organs did sound quite similar to Hammond organs. Console. We're in a key of G mood, Spinnet. Back to console. Spinnet. Console. It's very subtle, the difference in the tone wheel emulation, but the chorus is quite different. Sorry, the percussion is quite different. I'm really fumbling over my words today. I do apologise. If you made it this far in the video, let me know in the comments, despite me messing up all the terminology. Okay. Interestingly, on this particular Spinnet, the percussion works completely differently. You've got it written on the bottom what they do, so you've got completely different harmonics. And you don't have a global on and off switch. You switch on and off each harmonic. There's one. There's another. It's first, third and fifth. And then soft decay. Or just a decay setting. So it's quite nice actually, you can build up. And through the distortion. It's just the percussion, all the drawbars are in. Okay, for completeness, let's check out the third model. I've never played this myself actually. This is the Transistor organ. What do the drawbars do? Let's listen to the other models. We got the vibrato, the other chorus vibratos. Okay, they're all vibrato, I can hear. Presumably just like the original Voxes, Farfisas. I didn't demonstrate on the Hammond model there. Yeah, now you're hearing the vibrato circuit, which I don't like. Okay, that's vibrato 3, chorus 3, vibrato 1, which is very subtle, chorus 1, vibrato 2, chorus 2, and the maximum vibrato, which just makes me feel a little bit seasick. I don't like that. C3 is the one you want normally. Okay, so there you have it. That's pretty much all of the points I wanted to talk to you about, I think. You be the judge for yourself how realistic that is and faithful to the original Hammond organs. I can't really judge because I don't have one here in the shack, very unfortunately. Wish I did, but I don't have one to compare this with. So let me know what you thought in the comments if you're lucky enough to have the real thing. That'll do for this video. Thanks ever so much. So there you go. Once again, I remind you to check out my piano club on Patreon or here on YouTube. Thank you so much in advance. And please do subscribe to the channel, which costs you nothing, but it means a lot to me. Thank you so much in advance. Cheerio.